This is the mind of Lilith, and welcome to this astrology forecast for the fourth and final Mercury retrograde of the year 2022. Mercury will go retrograde from December 28th till January 18th, 2023 in the sign of Capricorn, which is a cardinal earth sign. Cardinal energy is focused on the future and taking action to initiate necessary changes based on information and resources that are gathered at an earlier time. So coming on the tail end of the Capricorn supermoon, which took place on December 23rd, this retrograde is asking us to take stock of what makes us feel secure and whether or not we have to let people, places, and things go to embrace new opportunities to create security for ourselves in a way that is efficient and sustainable in the long term. All signs are reviewing and organizing their thoughts to create practical solutions for the future. This retrograde is a time for review and preparation. So Mercury is the planet of communication. It represents the collection and dissemination of information, young children, transference of ideas and resources, data analysis, and travel. The sign of Capricorn is traditional. It's practical, resourceful, and interested in new ways of creating systems that efficiently manage resources. Mercury retrogrades are the optical illusion of the planet going backwards across the sky for about 20 days. And during retrogrades, it is the time for review, repetition, delays, redos, retractions, reversals, and reconsiderations. And because of this, it's usually not a good time to start something new until Mercury retrograde leaves the shadow period. So I'm going to discuss how Mercury retrograde will affect each sign and house. If you have the sun, moon, or ascendant in Aries or in the first house, Mercury in Capricorn will be in your 10th house of career and social status during the retrograde. And during this period, you may be contemplating whether or not you want to stay in a particular career path or profession, especially since Pluto in Capricorn has been squaring this house for several years. As the 10th house represents your career, it also may cause you to review projects that were completed in the past, to upgrade them, or make important changes to optimize their effectiveness. So some of you Arians are also contemplating work, family, and life balance, and whether or not you should sacrifice spending time with your family to climb the corporate ladder. If you have Mercury in Aries, you may experience traffic jams or accidents or delays while traveling, especially if you're driving in inclement weather, okay? We just had a huge snowstorm hit northern New York, and quite a few people have died because they were caught in the blizzard. So please be careful when you're traveling, especially if you're in Aries, okay? There is also a possibility that if you live in a colder climate, that your home may be damaged by the weather, by freezing and thawing cycles, okay? A few cities have experienced like pipes bursting because of the freezing temperatures. So as an example, make sure the pipes in your home are functioning properly, okay? So to sum it up, essentially Arians are figuring out how to revise certain aspects of their lives to create more financial or material security for themselves and their family. And they're trying to figure out the most sustainable way of doing this, meaning, can I maintain my lifestyle or my expenses or this system or this project long term? Or in some cases, can you afford to stay in your home long term? Will you be able to afford the mortgage on your home if your company downsizes or you have less customers and so on? So you're thinking about long-term practical sustainability, okay? So now let's move on to the sun in Taurus in the second house, which is trine in Capricorn. If you have the sun, moon, or ascendant in Taurus, or the sun in the second house, Mercury in Capricorn is in your 9th house of higher education, long distance travel, and our belief systems. During this period, you may be thinking about going on vacation, going back to school, or you're thinking about the foundation of your value systems. Have your beliefs and values helped you to create more security for yourself and other people? Are your beliefs and values stopping you from reaching your highest earning potential? The retrograde in your 9th house is also compelling you to consider how you can use your education to earn more money or to live a life that's more fulfilling to you. What knowledge and skills do you need to develop or capitalize on financial opportunities? Some of you are also considering moving to a safer, cleaner, healthier community that is beneficial to your overall well-being. If you have Mercury in Taurus, this retrograde period makes it easier for you to slow down and contemplate on how you need to modify your thinking to improve your quality of life. Now on to the next sign, a sun in Gemini, sun, moon, ascendant in Gemini, or sun in the third house. If you have the sun, moon, or ascendant in Gemini or in the third house, Mercury in Capricorn will be retrograding your 8th house of finances, divorces, taxes, debts, and mortality. During this period, you may decide to cut back on your spending, or you may be forced to review your expenses, especially if you experience financial loss at this time. There is a risk of financial negotiations falling through, loan applications being delayed or denied, or legal matters like divorce coming to a standstill. Also, you may have to refinance a home or renegotiate a contract that was signed during the previous Mercury retrograde cycle. Some of you may be contemplating the financial ramifications of a divorce or breakup and whether or not you should stick around for financial security. During this period, you could experience accidents or delays while traveling, especially if you're rushing. Please remember that Mars is still in Gemini, which is making you impatient, hot-tempered, or accident-prone. Your car could break down or you may incur a bill as the result of an accident or injury. In extreme cases, long-standing financial issues caused by a death in the family may finally be resolved. So on to the sun in Cancer or the sun in the 4th house. If you have the sun, moon, or ascendant in Cancer or in the 4th house, Mercury will be retrograding in the 7th position from your sun, moon, or ascendant. And this is the house of relationships, marriage, open enemies, and business partners. During this period, a divorce or separation may be reconsidered as you guys take the time to review your relationship. Separated couples may decide to give it one more try before finally ending things. You're also considering a makeover to spruce up your relationship. Unresolved issues in your marriage are likely to crop up again, especially if it involves money, career, property, household responsibilities, etc. If you also have Mercury in Cancer, this retrograde will have you reminiscing about your marriage or contemplating about how your marriage has affected your identity. Have you made too many compromises in this relationship? What sacrifices have to be made to maintain the peace in this relationship? Okay. Now let's go to the sun, moon, or ascendant in Leo or in the 5th house. If you have the sun, moon, or ascendant in Leo or the moon or the sun in the 5th house, Mercury will be retrograde in your 6th house of work, health habits, and daily routines. During this transit, you are thinking about changing your diet and restructuring your lifestyle to improve your overall mental and physical health. How is your lifestyle affecting the way you eat? Can you schedule time for exercising and meal prepping? If not, you will adjust your daily routines to manage or resolve long-standing health issues, especially digestive, stomach, or dermatological problems. Some of you may schedule health consultations to take control of your health. Former coworkers or employees may contact you for help or another project, or a former employer may offer you a job. You may also finally finish up previous projects that you put on the back burner. If you're self-employed, you may receive less orders from customers, but you are using this downtime to improve the quality of your products and services. Some of you are even asking, how is your mental, emotional, and physical health affecting your work? Okay. Sun in Virgo, Sun, Moon, Ascendant in Virgo, or Sun in the 6th house. If you have this placement, Mercury will be retrograde in your 5th house of romance, creative expression, and pregnancy. During this transit, past lovers or acquaintances may return for another go-around, but more than likely, after the retrograde is over, you realize that it's best to go your separate ways. You may be in the mood for romance, or you may be thinking about ex-lovers and friends and what you've learned from those relationships so that you don't repeat the same mistakes going forward. You are looking to turn over a new leaf in love and friendships, and sometimes we have to go backwards to move forwards. Some of you are also thinking about having more children, especially if you decided not to in the past. Your relationship with your children will be under review as you are thinking about creative ways to provide security for your babies, including passive income from investments and real estate. On the other hand, if you have toxic friends or you're part of unhealthy, dysfunctional organizations, you will realize that it is time to let these friendships, acquaintances, associations, and relationships go. And you're doing this to protect your mental and emotional health. There's a potential of experiencing financial loss through speculation. Mercury is your ruling planet, so you can expect to experience some delays or disruptions that affect your work, especially when it comes to traveling and technology. Some of you may want to take a break from technology to develop your creative gifts. So the next sign I'm going to cover is Libra, Sun, Moon, Ascendant in Libra, or the Sun in the 7th house. If you have this placement, Mercury will be retrograde in your 4th house of home, family, ancestry, and memories. And like Aries, You're thinking about work-life balance and how your career is affecting your relationship with your family and children, especially if you're married or living with someone. You may also want to move again, or your house may need repairs because of the weather or something else that happens. I don't know. Some of you are also thinking about how your home is affecting your quality of life. Do you feel more or less secure where you live, and why? If you have Mercury in Libra, you may reflect on how past relationships and childhood experiences have affected your current relationship, which may cause feelings of regret, depression, or feeling like you missed an opportunity, or even general frustration because you may realize that your relationship isn't exactly what you thought. The good news is that this reflection period is giving you the presence of mind to identify and resolve long-standing issues that are affecting your personal relationships. Are you a workaholic because you don't want to go home? Or are you a slave to your job because you're living beyond your means? Okay? Consider those things during the retrograde period. All right, next sign, Sun in Scorpio or in the 8th house. Sun, Moon, Ascendant in Scorpio or Sun in the 8th house. If you have this placement, Mercury in Capricorn is transiting your 3rd house of communication, short distance travel, education, neighbors, and young children. You are reflecting on how to use your knowledge, education, and skills to increase your financial security, especially if you're looking to move within the next year. Some of you are thinking about going back to school, in particular people who did not complete their education. If you're currently in school, there may be some discrepancies with transcripts or credits that have to be addressed. You may also experience communication issues at this time. So with the recent new moon in Capricorn, many Scorpios are thinking about moving to a new community or environment, or at the very least, traveling for educational purposes. Some Scorpios are even researching housing prices or the job market in different cities. You may experience delays, issues, or accidents while traveling. Make sure you double check your reservations and have an alternate travel plan in case of a cancellation. You may also get into arguments or disagreements with or about children, especially if they don't listen or if they're throwing a tantrum. If you have Mercury in Scorpio, this transit will help you to devise a strategy or plan of action to accomplish your goals of moving to a new community, going back to school, or just traveling in general within the next year, okay? But your finances have to be in order, and you have to make sure that there are economic opportunities available if you're looking to move. So this is a time for planning and strategy. It's not a time to make sudden moves, all right? All right. Next sign, Sun in Sagittarius or in the 9th house. If you have Sun, Moon, Ascendant in Sagittarius or Sun in the 9th house, Mercury in Capricorn will be transiting your 2nd house of self-esteem, personal property, and what we value. It is advised to spend money wisely or to check your invoices for unpaid orders. There is a possibility of missing out on financial opportunities because you refuse to do things in a new way. Some of you are also thinking about how your self-esteem or sense of self-worth is affecting your financial situation. Do you think you deserve to be financially prosperous, or do you feel validated by your material possessions? There may be financial or job loss at this time due to circumstances beyond your control, as Pluto has been transiting your 2nd house since 2008. The looming economic downturn may be affecting your wallet, or you may have spent too much money during the holiday season and now you're feeling the pinch. With the new recent moon in Capricorn, you are devising practical ways to attract more resources, more business opportunities, and more security in general. What worked in the past has to be reimagined because it may not work in the future, and you have to review the past though to avoid repeating mistakes. A divorce or separation is under review or may be finalized at this time, especially if it's been lingering for years, okay? The next sign, Capricorn. The Sun, Moon, Ascendant in Capricorn or Sun in the 10th house. If you have this placement, Mercury in Capricorn will be transiting your 1st house, physical appearances, personality, and first impressions. With the retrograde here, you are thinking about how your personality and image I'm sorry, why am I laughing? What's funny? I don't know. You're thinking about how your personality and your image is affecting your relationships and your finances or sense of security. Are you thinking or behaving in a way that builds trust and respect, or are you sabotaging yourself because you feel entitled? Or on the other hand, you may be sabotaging yourself if you feel like you're undeserving. Are you more concerned with looking like success or actually becoming successful? On the other end of the spectrum, some Capricorns are thinking about their long journey to success, and some of the sacrifices they've had to make to get where they are. For those Capricorns, you are now at the top of the mountain. But are you happy? Are you using your money to compensate for having low self-esteem, or are you using your resources to manipulate or control other people? Are you feeling less secure even though you have more money or higher social status? Do you need other people to validate your worth? Are your relationships better or worse now than they were when you had more money or less money, right? So during this retrograde, you are reflecting on how your attitudes about money and status reflects your inner sense of security. I think I was laughing because as I'm reading this, I saw an image of Martel in my head when he had the ferret on his shoulder, right? During his wine launch event, he had the white ferret on his shoulder. That's the illusion of success. That's what he represents. All right, next sign, Sun in Aquarius or in the 11th house. Sun, Moon, Ascendant in Aquarius or Sun in the 11th house. If you have this aspect, Mercury in Capricorn will be transiting your 12th house of endings, hospitalizations, dreams, and fantasies. With a retrograde here, you are going through a similar experience as Capricorn, as you both share Saturn as a ruler. Furthermore, the recent death or illness of a loved one could have you contemplating your mortality or the meaning of life. If you're overworking or stressed, you can start to feel a toll is taking on your body, especially if you get sick. Saturn is still conjuncting your Sun, Moon, or Ascendant and will move to your second house of the physical body and finances next year. So while hard work is its own reward, too much hard work will leave you feeling drained or depleted, forcing you to rethink your daily routines like your opposite sign of Leo. You may dream about experiences that made you feel less secure, especially if they involve abuse, neglect, or disappointment, all of which affected your self-esteem. During this period, you may also feel depressed or mentally drained and fatigued, but your intuition will be heightened and your dreams become more vivid. You may even have an epiphany about something that happened a long time ago, which is affecting your sense of security now. If you have been working compulsively non-stop, you will feel the need to take a break, relax, and enjoy some quiet time with your family, friends, or children. The holidays may have compelled you to think about your subconscious feelings about your self-worth, especially if you feel like you need to spend a lot of money on your loved ones to prove how much you love them. If you don't have as much money now, or if you don't have as much disposable income now as you did in the past, does that make you less worthy of love? Does that mean you're a failure? Do not wait until Saturn enters Pisces to figure this out, because when Saturn enters your second house, you'll be forced to budget, okay? Even if you're making more money, you may incur more expenses because you have a higher income, so you'll still be stuck, right? Okay, so finally the last sign, Pisces. Sun, Moon, Ascendant in Pisces or in the 12th house. If you have the Sun, Moon, or Ascendant in Pisces or the Sun in the 12th house, Mercury retrograding in Capricorn will be transiting your 11th house of friendships, hopes, and wishes and associations. Some of you are thinking about the value of your friendships and whether or not you want to hold on to them in the upcoming year, especially as Saturn enters your sun sign. You will have less tolerance or patience for imbalanced relationships that aren't productive and don't add stability to your life. You're thinking about collaborating with others on creative projects that have been put on the back burner for a long time. You're also considering ways to share your creativity with your friends, associations, or society in general, especially by way of social media. Friends from the past may return to talk about the good old days, which will renew interest in long-forgotten creative projects you may have imagined during your childhood. With Saturn moving towards a conjunction with your Sun next year, especially if you're a first decan Pisces, you take a more focused, disciplined, and practical approach to your creative ideas, and this retrograde period will compel you to take a step back to move forward with creative endeavors in the next couple of years. There may be communication issues with your children or your friends that may come to a head at this time because the energy of Pluto and Capricorn has transformed these relationships over the past 14 years. Your interactions, your responses, your attitudes, and your behaviors towards your friends and children must reflect the current reality of the situation. You cannot talk to these people the same way you did 10 years ago because things have changed. Okay, your kids are grown now. Your friends are grown. They have their own families. They have their own interests. So you can't expect the same type of interaction or engagement with them as you did when you were way younger. Okay, Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. That's 14 years ago. That's a long time. So if you had a kid during this time period, before that time period, they're like teenagers or almost grown at this point. You can't speak to them the same way. And they're probably going through some challenging transitions in their own lives. It's changing the way that they're engaging with you as well. So be patient with them. All right, I'm gonna end it there. So I'm going to start uploading the yearly tarot readings to Patreon today. I also have a tier for both monthly and bi-weekly tarot readings that's on Patreon now. The monthly and bi-weekly tarot readings will be posted starting on December 31st. Okay, so I'll do the monthly readings for each sign, and then I will do the bi-weeklies for each sign as well. Okay. All right, guys, look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will speak to you soon.